So I thought I'd sit down here for a few minutes with the woods behind me. I've actually never thought about sitting in this spot, but this spot is pretty nice actually, regardless. Anyway, I kind of want to give you an update on this channel. I went through two major changes, well, one major change I should say, on this channel. This used to be a nomadic channel. I say two, they could have been. Three different types of niches is what I went through. A niche is a specified grouping of things you do. So the first niche, I lived in a traveled country, I should say, in a pop-up camper. And we did that for about a year, and then someone burned down our camper. So we considered buying another pop-up camper and continue on because of YouTube, but I've always said that I didn't want to make YouTube guide my life. I wanted my life to guide YouTube. So instead, we built a truck camper, put it on the back truck, homemade truck camper. And that was a good idea for the YouTube channel, even though it was something that we wanted to do. I was able to build that thing, I think, I don't know, $400, somewhere around there. Put it on the truck, and we traveled for a couple more years with that truck camper. And then we decided we were going to quit the nomadic lifestyle, so that was niche number two. We were still traveling, but it was different type of camper. And then we bought this property, which is niche number three, so we lived here, and we put the truck camper on the ground, lived on it until we built a tiny house. Now there, I'm a little confused as whether that was a new niche or what. It was a temporary thing, little house off grid, so we were building a little house to live off grid. So I guess you could say that was another niche, but I see it as one, that this channel is kind of a combination of little house and off grid. At that time, the channel started taking a real nosedive. It was doing well, better than it had ever done before. When we moved here, the channel did fantastic. But as I was building, it started to dive. Since then, I've had a couple huge recoveries. Like 2 years ago, I had a massive recovery. But it slowed back down, and we're back to just normal views. And one thing that I've always noticed about me, my personality, is I am slow to change when it comes to YouTube, even though I know it needs to change. I analyze it too long, and it's almost like, what do they call that? Analysis paralysis. And the reason I do that is because all the YouTube experts tell you that you have to narrow down your niche. So if you live in a tiny house off-grid, you're supposed to live off-grid. If you live off-grid, then you're supposed to focus on solar panels. And if you focus on solar panels, then you should just focus on charge controllers. And so they're telling you always to niche down, niche down. And I've kind of tried that several times now. For example, building the tiny house. That was kind of a niche down. I was building a tiny house. That was the only thing I was doing at the time. But views were dropping. But then I did a video where I was talking about trolls. And the channel just exploded. And that video still today gets a significant amount of views. Even though today, for example, my views are way down. That video for today is probably in the top 5. There's a couple more videos, one about a 22 rifle that I made. That was probably last year. And then, well, it doesn't matter. But videos that have nothing to do with the channel altogether seem to always do better than the ones that are about the actual channel content. It's always confused me. So then I think, well, okay, maybe my channel should be about trolls, or maybe my channel should be about 22s, and then the next videos never do as well as the original one did. Well, the channel has been fluctuating dramatically the last, I don't know, since maybe last September. Carolyn and I said, well, maybe we should experiment and do different things, and I've been trying. For example, we've been doing more videos off-site. We went to a couple conservation areas. I've been doing some videos in the rain and just trying to get a feel if any of this is interesting. And I've noticed some interest. Now, you got to realize this time of the year during graduation and springtime, people aren't watching videos as much as they used to, so you got to keep that in mind. So you make comparisons from last May to this May. And I would say that there just seems to be more interest. And the way I measure the interest isn't by views, it's by watch time. So when you look at a video, if your watch time is doing really well, then you know that the people who are watching it are interested because they're staying longer in the video. Well, the other day I made a video. I had a chainsaw that wasn't doing well, carburetor issues and just different things, some hoses that broke. And I did a video on it, and the watch time was near perfect. I mean, I've never had a video do that well on watch time. So people were watching it in regular speed, watching it all the way through. Some people might have been rewinding it to look at the different parts of it, because you would see spikes in the watch time, which means that they rewound it. So I thought, hey, that's great. Let's see if we can try something else. So then I did a video where I bought a carburetor kit. And I went through the entire kit, just showing different components like the carburetor. And again, although not quite as good on watch time, it was still in there's different levels of watch time measurements that you get from YouTube analytics. You get a gray dot, that means, or a gray check mark, that means you're below average, terribly below. If you get just a regular green check mark, that means you're average. And then if you get a solid green check mark, that means you're above average. And so this was a solid green check mark. So again, that was 2. I know it's only an example of 2, but I've been thinking, I want to work on small engines. I've always wanted to do it as a living, but I've always been a little bit afraid of working on small engines for a living. I've even considered opening my own business. One, I'm not an expert. I have tinkered with some small engines my entire life, and I've always been able to repair a small engine one way or another. And now with Amazon, it's so easy to find parts. You just type in the part number on Google or Amazon. Back in the old days, I didn't even know how to get parts. So you'd want to fix up a carburetor. Well, today you could just order a new carburetor, just like I showed you on that parts box video I showed you. The whole kit with hoses and spark plugs and everything was $14. For a chainsaw carburetor. To rebuild it, it would have cost $14, so why not just get the carburetor? So easy fixes, those kind of things. And one person said, I didn't even know you could buy a carburetor. That's great to know. No, wouldn't it be kind of neat if I could kind of move directions? Now again, this is completely against the advice of the YouTube experts. But if I could start to guide this channel, maybe not from off-grid. I mean, there's still things cool about off-grid. But occasionally do a video about small engine repair, because there's a lot of small engine repair living off-grid, and just see how it does. And at the same time, I could always be doing kind of what my dream was, which is do small engine repair. Another reason I didn't ever want to do a business with small engine repairs, when I was a kid, I knew a guy. His name was Red. I'm not going to give you his last name. I mean, he's long deceased by now, but his name was Red. And he owned a company. Him and his son and son-in-law owned a business fixing up small engines, chainsaws and lawnmowers. And he sold lawnmowers right there in his shop front. And it was just out in the middle of a rinky-dink town. Well, I say middle. It wasn't even it was kind of on the outskirts of town. Nobody drove that area. The main highway was at least a mile away from him. But he seemed to always do well. He had money, and it just, anyway, but he sold a chainsaw one time. And of course the guy put regular gasoline in it instead of putting oil in the gasoline. So the guy sued him. And Red lost the lawsuit. And I thought, I don't want to be sued over $100 piece of equipment. But I have had some thinking about buying, fixing up, and reselling. Maybe I buy a chainsaw or find an old one laying around somewhere, or just junk, seeing if I can figure out what's wrong with it. If it's an easy fix it, get it running, and sell it. So if I bought this old chainsaw, or if I found a chainsaw, maybe at a garage sale that wasn't running anymore, got it for nothing to $25, and I could fix it up, buy a carburetor for $14, new stator for $14, you got $50 invested in it, sell it for $150, you've made $100. You do that several times in the winter season, it's not a lot of money, but I don't need a lot of money. I got YouTube, it makes money. I've been thinking about this. If I could find an old lawnmower, let's say the engine was burned up, you could go and buy a brand new riding lawnmower for $2,000 to $3,000. A few years ago, I had an engine burn up on a lawnmower, and I just bought a new engine. It was a Briggs & Stratton engine for $700. If you found an old lawnmower, cleaned it up, replaced the belts, fixed up the tires, whatever it needed, put a new engine on it, you could resell it for, let's say, $1,000. I don't know if that's feasible, and I wouldn't jump right into it, but it's something that you could test waters with. Of course, you could just rebuild the engine. And I was looking at what a mechanic would charge. So let's just say they charge $100 an hour, and it takes you 8 hours to rebuild an engine, which is reasonable to think that's what it would take. Then that's $800, whereas I just spent $700 on a new engine. Now, I live in an area that's kind of poor, but 20 miles in each direction, there's a richer areas. And we live in an area, it's very unique. Literally down the road, there is a huge mansion right next to a trailer park. What it is summer homes. People come out here for the summer homes. Well, during the summer home, maybe you just want to buy an old used junky lawnmower, so some guy with a summer home would buy one from me. On occasion, buying something or finding something for free and rebuilding it, making a YouTube channel. Just see how it does. Now, I can't get too fancy with this. I don't have a lot of tools. As a matter of fact, I'll probably go to Walmart. I know I should go and get some regular tools like real men do, but a Walmart toolkit works just fine. I got one now. That's all I got is a Walmart tool kit with some sockets and wrenches. As long as you got a 10 millimeter, it seems like that's pretty much all you need. And it would get me started. The reason I'd get a new Walmart tool kit is because this one's missing a lot of pieces over time. You lose a piece here or there. I dropped a socket one time. I've needed that socket ever since, but I dropped it on the ground, couldn't find it. Now, my workbench would be the back of my truck. I don't lose parts here. I don't have a shed. And I'm not gonna go out and buy a shed just to see if this experiment is a good idea. So just work in the back of the truck, sweep it out. The camera sets up pretty nicely. I can set the camera up on the roof or in the bed or on the side, and I can get some pretty good angles with that. In the wintertime, if there's a chainsaw project that I want to do, we can go inside the camper here. And right now we have chickens underneath the bed. I've showed you that many times. But in the wintertime, I just shut that lid on the bed and I can make that a workbench and work on a chainsaw or something. And there's several projects right now that I've been wanting to work on or can work on. Obviously, I told you about that chainsaw that we've been working on together, you and me. And as soon as I get a new stator, we'll finish fixing this one up, get it running. But also, I've got this well pump just as an idea that I could clean up. Another project that I would like to, well, it's not even a project, I just want to get this thing out of here. A few years ago, you may remember that I bought a used tiller. And it just didn't run right when we got it. It would get a little warm and it would just stop running. So I bought a new carburetor for it. And I changed the carburetor on it on video. And it worked great. Everything was fine on it. I put it away. Well, I kind of put it away. I mean, the best I could. Covered it up. Well, then, I don't know, I can't remember what we were doing. I came out here to start it up and it wouldn't start. What I realized was I left gas in it. Now, that is not like me at all to leave gas in any of my equipment. But I left gas in it. I remember taking gas out of it. That's what's so strange is I remember dumping it out. But I guess I didn't because there was gas in it. So it gummed up the carburetor. Well, I got some seafoam, poured it in there, I got it to run. But of course, it's not in perfect condition. If I wanted to sell this, I'd want to sell it where I knew it was in good condition. So I looked up the carburetor, again, just type in the part number, and it was $25 for the entire rebuild kit. New spark plug, new carburetor, new gaskets, new everything. So, 22 bucks, I put a new carburetor on it, get it running nice, put a price tag of 150 bucks on it, and I can get this off the property, and I've just made 150 bucks. So there's another project. And none of these projects are gonna be hard, replacing a carburetor here or there. Eventually, I would start having enough pieces left over, old carburetors and different things, that I could just start rebuilding them. A while back, I tried to fix up that old generator. I mean, it had 8,000 miles on it. hours on it. And I didn't know if it was really going to be feasible, but I went ahead and bought a carburetor for it anyways, hoping that would resolve the issue. It didn't. The other day I took all the pieces off of it that I thought I would need if one of the generator, well, the generator that is the dual fuel, it's the same carburetor. So I took the new carburetor off, the one I bought, air filters, the stator, hoses, just different things, put it in a Ziploc bag, hold on to it. Well, eventually I will have enough components, old carburetors laying around, that I could just start rebuilding. And I'm not going to go and invest a lot of money to see if this is going to work. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on that chainsaw. So hope I can inspire you. Don't be slow to change like me, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.